You left me at the train station with a pie and $10. That's what I asked my son after I gave up my dreams, my savings, and my life to raise him. He forged my signature, told neighbors I was confused, and tried to steal the trust my late husband left for our family. And the worst part? He invited me to his daughter's birthday party just to get me out of the house. I stayed silent for years, but when he called me a burden and smashed my husband's photo in front of our entire family, I knew I had to fight back. In just one night, I exposed everything. Right there, at the community center. I froze the trust, reclaimed my dignity, and gave my granddaughter the legacy her father tried to erase. I held up the forged document. My granddaughter read her grandpa's letter aloud, and my daughter stood beside me and said, "Mom's not confused. She's the heart of this family." If you're a mother who's ever been dismissed, sidelined, or told you're too old to matter, don't scroll past this. Watch this now, before someone you love decides you don't count anymore. Before we dive into everything, let me ask you something. Are you listening to this in the morning, afternoon, evening, or maybe in the quiet hours of the night? Drop the current time in the comments below. I'd love to send you a warm, timely hello, wherever and whenever you are. My phone buzzed on April 10th, 2024. Nathan's name glowing on the screen after a year's silence. Could one call bring my son back to me? I sat in my living room in Willow Creek, Ohio, the couch buried under a tangle of knitting yarn, needles glinting in the late afternoon light. A farmer's market flyer fluttered on the fridge, promising fresh peaches tomorrow. The air carried cinnamon, warm and sweet, from the pecan pie baking in the oven. Jazz hummed low from the radio, Ella Fitzgerald's voice curling around the notes like a soft shawl. My fingers paused mid-stitch, heart skittering as I reached for the phone. "Nathan?" My voice cracked, barely above a whisper. "Hey, Mom." His tone was light, casual, like he'd called yesterday. "We're throwing a party for Lily's 16th birthday next week. Small thing, at the community center. You should come. Bring your pecan pie, the crunchy kind." A chuckle, familiar yet distant. Everybody loves it. My chest tightened, a mix of ache and hope. A year, no calls, no visits, not even a card for my 62nd birthday. I'd sent Nathan texts, left voicemails, each unanswered, my words sinking into silence. I'd lain awake nights, wondering if I'd failed him somehow, if the years I poured into him, every late shift, every saved dollar for his college, had vanished like dust. Now, his voice sparked something fragile, a flicker I hadn't felt in months. "That sounds wonderful," I said, swallowing the lump in my throat. "I'd love to see Lily and you." "Great. I'll swing by next Thursday, 8 a.m. sharp. Gotta run, Mom. Caterer's on the other line." The call ended, abrupt, leaving Ella's croon to fill the quiet. I set the phone down, hands trembling. Was I ever enough for them? The question lingered, sharp as a knitting needle. I stood, smoothing my apron, and crossed to the kitchen. The oven timer dinged, and I pulled out the pie, its crust perfect, edges cracked just right. I'd baked it on a whim, as if my hands knew Nathan would call. Maybe he sees me now, I thought, a small smile tugging my lips. In my bedroom, I opened the closet, the scent of cedar wafting out. My navy dress hung there, saved for special days, its fabric soft under my fingers. I laid it on the bed, then reached for Lily's scarf, a blue knit I'd made last winter, each stitch a prayer for my granddaughter. She'd be 16, all legs and dreams, probably too old for my stories about her grandpa George. I missed her giggle, the way she'd curl up beside me, asking about his old fishing trips. On the dresser, George's photo caught the light, his grin frozen from our 30th anniversary. I slipped it into my purse, its edges worn, a quiet warning of promises broken. George had been gone 5 years, his heart giving out after a second surgery. He'd set up a trust for Nathan and Lily, leaving me in charge, a responsibility I held like a fragile heirloom. I'd sacrifice my teaching dreams to fund Nathan's college, believing it would secure his future. Now that sacrifice felt like a weight, heavy and unseen. I opened my laptop, the screen casting a blue glow. An email blinked. Subject line stark. Sullivan Dealership, final notice. I frowned. Nathan's car dealership struggling, he'd said last year. But why was this in my inbox? I clicked, scanning words like overdue and immediate action. My stomach twisted. He hadn't mentioned trouble, not in his breezy call. I closed the laptop, pushing the thought away. He'd invited me to the party. That meant something, didn't it? Back in the kitchen, I boxed the pie, hands steadier now. Hope felt like a fragile thread, but I clung to it. I moved to the hall, suitcase ready, navy dress folded inside. This time's different, I whispered, standing by the door, pie in hand. Nathan's call wasn't just a party invite, it was a chance to be family again. I glanced at the fridge, the farmer's market flyer fluttering, promising a new day. Philosophy slipped into my thoughts. Sometimes love means holding on even when it hurts. I believed Nathan's call was a start, a bridge across the silence. My fingers brushed the purse, George's photo inside, its weight grounding me. I imagined Lily's smile, Clara's voice, my daughter, distant since I missed her graduation for George's hospital stay. Maybe this party would mend us all. The laptop chimed, another email breaking the quiet. I crossed the room, heart quickening. The subject read, Nathan, payment overdue. My breath caught. Is he hiding something? The jazz faded, Ella's voice no match for the question now pulsing in my mind. The train station clock ticked past 8:30. No sign of Nathan's SUV. Had my son forgotten me again? I sat on a cracked vinyl bench at Willow Creek's train station, the pecan pie box heavy on my lap. Faded Amtrak posters curled on the walls, their colors washed out under flickering lights. Across the street, a coffee shop's neon sign blinked, its red glow cutting through the morning chill. My fingers tightened around my purse, George's photo inside, his smile a cruel contrast to the empty platform. The suitcase at my feet felt like an anchor, packed with my navy dress and Lily's scarf, each item a thread of hope now fraying. I shifted, the bench creaking, and checked my watch. 8:35. Nathan had promised 8 a.m. sharp. My heart thudded, a mix of worry and ache. Last week's call had felt like a lifeline, his voice pulling me from a year of silence. I'd baked the pie, pressed my dress, believing he wanted me at Lily's party. But the platform stayed deserted, a train whistle shrieking in the distance, mocking my wait. Tires screeched and Nathan's silver SUV roared up, country music blasting through open windows. My breath caught as he leaned out, sunglasses glinting. "Mom, you're set," he called, voice clipped. "Tickets inside, here's $10 for snacks." He tossed a crumpled bill onto the bench and floored the gas, taillights fading before I could speak. The $10 fluttered, landing near my feet, a dismissal sharper than any words. I stood, pie box slipping in my grip, and crossed to the ticket counter, legs unsteady. The clerk, a young man with tired eyes, tapped his keyboard. "Name?" he asked, chewing gum. "Beatrice Sullivan," I said, voice small. He shook his head. "No reservation. You sure it's today?" My stomach dropped. "My son said—" I trailed off, the $10 burning in my hand. I returned to the bench, sinking down, the vinyl cold against my thighs. No ticket, no Nathan, just a crumpled bill and a pie nobody wanted. Was I his mother or just a name? The question stung, raw and unyielding. My phone, dead in my purse, offered no answers. Nathan's voice echoed from a call last year. "You're too slow, Mom." I'd laughed then, thinking he teased. Now it felt like truth. I stared at the coffee shop's glow, people moving inside, their laughter muffled, invisible. That's what I was. 62 years old, and my own son couldn't be bothered to get me to his daughter's party. My fingers traced the pie box, its warmth fading, like the hope I'd carried since his call. I'd given up my teaching dreams for him, scraped together every penny for his college, and this was my reward, a $10 bill and an empty platform. Footsteps approached. soft on the concrete. A woman about my age stood there, her gray hair tucked under a knit cap. Her eyes, sharp but kind, met mine. "B. Sullivan? You look like you could use a friend." She gestured to the coffee shop. "I'm Vivian from across the street. That bench can't be comfortable." I blinked, her voice pulling me from the fog. "I'm fine," I lied, but my hands shook, betraying me. Vivian's mouth quirked, a wry smile. "Sure you are. Come on, my cottage is 2 blocks away, warmer than this place." She picked up my suitcase before I could protest, her stride brisk. I followed, pie box clutched tight, the $10 stuffed in my pocket. Her cottage smelled of lavender, a small haven with bookshelves and a tea kettle on the stove. Photos lined the mantel. Vivian with a young man, then none of him later. "My nephew," she said, catching my gaze, "took my savings and ran. Family's not always what you hope." Her tone was light, but her eyes held old pain mirroring mine. She handed me her phone. "Call Nathan, B. Something's not right." I hesitated, fingers hovering. My own phone, dead, held a text I'd seen before it died. "Mom, you at the party yet?" Why was he pretending I'd made it? The question gnawed, a spark of resolve flickering through my hurt. I dialed, but Nathan's voicemail picked up. "Where are you, Mom?" his voice said, too smooth, too staged. I hung up, sinking into Vivian's armchair, the $10 a bitter weight in my pocket. "He didn't want me there," I whispered, the truth cutting deep. Vivian's hand rested on my shoulder, steady and warm. Philosophy touched my thoughts. Sometimes betrayal shows you who you need to become. Hurt swallowed me, but beneath it, a resolve stirred. I'd find out why Nathan left me here. Vivian's eyes met mine, a silent promise of support. The tea kettle whistled, sharp and urgent, as Nathan's voicemail echoed in my mind. You ever reach out to someone, hoping for just a little kindness, and get hit with the truth that wrecks you instead? What Nathan said next. It's something no mother should ever hear. If you're still here, drop a 5 in the comments, because this next part, it still stings. Nathan's voice snapped through the phone. "You never did anything for me." How could he erase my sacrifices? I sat in Vivian's cottage, the air thick with the scent of grilled chicken from her dinner, bookshelves crammed with paperbacks looming behind me. A community center potluck flyer lay on the table, its bright colors mocking the storm in my chest. My fingers gripped George's photo in my purse, its frame a silent reminder of the teaching career I'd abandoned for Nathan's college. The tea kettle hissed on the stove, steam curling like my rising anger. Vivian's phone, warm in my hand, trembled as I pressed it to my ear. Nathan's voicemail from the train station still echoing. "Where are you, Mom?" "Nathan, it's me," I said, voice quivering when he picked up. "There was no ticket at the station. Why did you leave me there?" A scoff crackled through the line, sharp as a slap. "You never did anything for me, Mom, always making things harder." His words landed like stones, denying the years I'd worked double shifts, the dreams I'd shelved to pay his tuition. My breath caught, hurt twisting into something hotter. "I gave up everything for you," I snapped, my voice breaking. "College, my career, how dare you say that?" The room blurred, Vivian's eyes on me, steady and fierce. "Whatever," Nathan muttered, his tone cold. "You're too old to get it, Mom, just like last time." I flinched, remembering a Christmas visit 2 years ago, his hand grabbing my arm when I questioned his late nights, his grip bruising. "Stay out of my way," he added, hanging up, the line going dead. I lowered the phone, hands shaking. Did I raise him, or did he erase me? The question burned, raw and relentless. Vivian leaned forward, her gray hair catching the lamplight. "B, don't let him do this," she said, voice firm. "My nephew pulled the same stunt, stole my savings, called me useless when I called him out. Family can betray you, but you don't have to let them erase you." Her words struck deep, her own pain mirroring mine. I nodded, swallowing hard, the hurt in my chest flaring into anger. He left me with $10, Vivian. $10 like I'm nothing. My fingers tightened on the photo, George's smile urging me to fight. Vivian poured tea, the clink of mugs grounding me, her cottage a haven from Nathan's cruelty. I need to know why, I said, standing, resolve flickering. He's hiding something. Vivian's mouth quirked, a knowing smile. Start with what you know, B. Check your things. He's not as clever as he thinks. I crossed to the door, needing air, my suitcase still by the entry. The evening was cool, crickets chirping beyond the porch. I opened my mailbox, a habit, and froze. An envelope, addressed to Nathan at my address, peeked out. Sullivan Dealership, marked overdue. My pulse raced as I tore it open, the paper crisp under my fingers. $50,000 due last week. My anger surged, a wildfire. How dare he hide this using my home like a shield? I clutched the bill, its numbers glaring. Nathan wasn't just neglecting me, he was drowning and dragging me with him. I stormed back inside, the potluck flyer catching my eye, its date for Lily's party looming. Vivian looked up, tea mug steaming. "What's that?" she asked, nodding at the bill. "Trouble," I said, voice hard. $50,000 of it. The amount hinted at deeper secrets. Nathan's casual party invite, now a lie. My mind raced. His voicemail, his $10, this bill. He wasn't bringing me to Lily's party for family. He wanted me gone. Philosophy whispered through my anger. Betrayal cuts deepest when it wears a familiar face. Nathan's denial wasn't just words. It was a public erasure, shouted through a phone I knew others could hear. I sank into a chair, the bill crumpled in my fist, vowing to uncover his lies. Vivian's hand rested on mine, her strength a lifeline. The flyer's date glared. Next Thursday. Is Nathan planning something for the party? The question hung, sharp as the tea kettle's whistle, my anger now a blade I'd wield. Clara's letter shook in my hands, her words heavy with regret. Could my daughter finally see me, or was it too late? I sat at my kitchen table in Willow Creek, Ohio, quilts draped over the couch, their patchwork patterns soft in the evening light. A community center potluck flyer lay on the counter, its promise of Lily's party a distant hope. Jazz drifted through the open window, low and soulful from the coffee shop next door, mingling with the chirp of crickets. My fingers brushed George's photo on the table, its edges worn like the memory of his 40th birthday gift to me. A teaching certificate I never used, traded for Nathan's college and Clara's dreams. The ache in my chest, raw from Nathan's betrayal at the train station, pulsed with every word of Clara's letter. I unfolded the paper again, her handwriting neat but hurried. Nathan says you're confused, Mom, but I know better. I'm sorry for pulling away. My breath caught, a wound reopening. I'd missed Clara's high school graduation, stuck at George's bedside during his second surgery, his heart faltering. She'd been 18, her cap and gown a blur in photos I never saw in person. Her calls grew rare after that, her visits rarer, each silence a brick in the wall between us. Now her words cracked that wall, but Nathan's lie, confused, slashed deeper, undermining my worth like a thief in the night. I stood, pacing, the floorboards creaking under my slippers. Am I losing my mind, or is he stealing my life? The question gnawed, sharp as the $50,000 dealership bill I'd found yesterday. Nathan's secret debt now a weight in my purse beside George's photo. His voice still rang from our call, denying my sacrifices, calling me too old. I'd given up teaching, poured every dime into his future, and he'd left me with $10 and no ticket. My hurt churned, hardening into anger. The doorbell chimed, startling me. Vivian stood on the porch, a coffee shop bag in hand, the scent of espresso wafting. Her gray hair was tucked under a knit cap, her eyes sharp with that familiar wit. "B, you look like you're wrestling ghosts," she said, stepping inside. She set the bag down, her gaze landing on Clara's letter. "Good news?" "Maybe," I murmured, handing it to her. "Clara's sorry, but Nathan's spreading lies. He told her I'm confused. My voice broke, indignation flaring. Vivian's mouth tightened, reading the letter. "He's hiding something, B," she said, folding the paper. "My nephew did the same, lied about my health to cover his theft. Check George's trust papers. Nathan's not above scheming." Her words, laced with her own betrayal's pain, struck home. I nodded, heart racing, and crossed to the hall closet. If you found a document that proved your own child was trying to erase your place in the family, what would you do? This next moment broke something in me, but it also lit a fire I couldn't ignore. If you've ever felt betrayed by someone you raised, drop a 6 in the comments. We're about to cross a line you can't come back from. The trust file was buried under old tax forms, its manila folder stiff with age. I carried it to the table, Vivian hovering. Inside, George's careful handwriting outlined the trust for Nathan and Lily. My name is trustee in bold. I flipped through, stopping at a signature page. My name. But the loops were too tight, the slant too sharp. My stomach lurched. "This isn't mine," I whispered, fingers tracing the ink. Vivian leaned in, eyes narrowing. "Forged. He's after the trust money." Her certainty fanned my anger, but doubt crept in, cold and sly. Was I confused? Had I signed this and forgotten? My memory flickered. Dates, bills, Nathan's call, all clear, yet his lie made me question myself. "Am I losing it, Vivian?" I asked, voice small. She scoffed, slamming her mug down, tea sloshing. "He's gaslighting you, B. Classic trick. My nephew swore I was senile when I caught him." She pointed to the file. "Keep looking. He's not that clever." Her conviction steadied me, anger sparking anew. I rifled through the papers, my hands steady despite the tremor in my chest. A note slipped out, folded tight, tucked behind a bank letter. "Call attorney, urgent," it read. Nathan's handwriting unmistakable, matching the dealership bill. My pulse quickened, the note a flare in the dark. "Trust transfer ready," it said below, dated last week. My anger roared, drowning doubt. Nathan wasn't just lying, he was stealing my place, my power, my legacy. I clutched the note, knuckles white, the potluck flyer catching my eye. Lily's party was days away, Nathan's scheme likely tied to it. "He's planning something," I said, voice hard. Vivian nodded, her smile fierce. "Then we'll plan too, B." Philosophy settled in my thoughts. Doubt can chain you, but truth sets you free. Nathan's forgery wasn't just a betrayal. It was a declaration that I was nothing. But Clara's letter, Vivian's fire, and this note proved I wasn't alone. My resolve ignited, a vow to fight back. The jazz outside swelled, a trumpet's wail matching my pulse. What's Nathan planning next? The note's words burned, a challenge I'd meet head on. Clara's hug warmed my heart as she stood at my door. "I was wrong about you, Mom. Could we face Nathan together?" I stood in Clara's suburban home, the living room bright with Lily's watercolor paintings pinned to the walls, their blues and greens swirling like dreams. An apple pie cooled on the kitchen counter, its scent mingling with the hum of a slow dance tune from a radio, evoking memories of family gatherings long past. The trust papers lay on my dining table at home, George's legacy a battlefield for my worth. But here, Clara's embrace felt like a new beginning. My anger at Nathan's forged signature, discovered last night, churned beneath the surface, ready to spark into something fiercer. Clara stepped back, her eyes wet, her chestnut hair tucked behind her ears. "I thought you were old-fashioned, Mom. I was so wrong." Her voice broke, and I saw the 18-year-old girl I'd let down, missing her graduation for George's hospital stay. That day, I'd sat by his bed, his hand cold in mine, while Clara walked the stage alone. Her distance since then had carved a hollow in my chest, but now her words filled it with hope. "Come in," she said, leading me to the kitchen. We sat, coffee mugs steaming, the pie's aroma wrapping us like a quilt. "I got your message about Nathan," she whispered. "What happened at the station?" I told her. His $10, no ticket, his lie about my confusion. Her face hardened, guilt flickering. "I believed him, Mom. I'm sorry." I squeezed her hand, my anger at Nathan softening for her. "You're here now," I said. "That's enough." But my mind raced to the trust papers, the forged signature that mocked my sacrifices, my teaching career, Nathan's college, all erased by his greed. How long has my son been rewriting my story? The question burned, a fire I couldn't douse. "Let me show you something," I said, pulling the trust file from my bag, its edges worn. I opened it to the signature page, the loops too tight, not mine. Clara leaned in, her breath catching. "That's not yours," she gasped. "Nathan copied it from a birthday card I sent Lily last year. I saw him trace it." Her voice shook, anger rising. "His dealership's collapsing, Mom. He owes $200,000. He's desperate." My heart thudded. The $50,000 bill from my mailbox now dwarfed by this number. Nathan's betrayal wasn't just personal. It was calculated. His forgery a theft of George's trust, my role as its guardian. My fingers tightened on the file, indignation flaring. He dismissed my life's work, my love, with a stolen signature. I stood, pacing, the radio's slow tune clashing with my racing pulse. Footsteps pattered and Lily appeared, her long hair tied back, eyes wide. "Grandma?" she said, clutching a folded paper, her voice small. She'd overheard, her sneakers squeaking on the hardwood. "Dad's lying?" Her question hung, fragile, tearing at me. Lily loved my stories about George, his fishing trips, his quiet laugh. But Nathan was her father, her anchor. I nodded, crossing to her, my anger giving way to protectiveness. "He's made some bad choices, sweetheart." I pulled her close, her head against my shoulder, the paper crinkling in her hand. "What's that?" I asked, glancing at it. She hesitated, then handed me the paper, an unsent letter addressed to me. "I wrote it months ago," she whispered. "I was scared Dad wouldn't like it." My throat tightened, her hidden loyalty a balm to my wounds. The letter's existence, kept secret, hinted at her love, tying us closer against Nathan's lies. Clara stood, her jaw set. "We'll stop him, Mom, together." Lily nodded, her eyes fierce despite the tremor in her voice. I held them both, the trust file heavy in my bag, determination surging. Nathan's forgery wasn't just a crime, it was a declaration that I was nothing. But Clara's support, Lily's loyalty proved otherwise. My anger solidified, a resolve to expose him at Lily's party. We sat again, coffee cold, the apple pie's scent now a reminder of the potluck ahead. "We need more proof," I said, voice steady. Clara's eyes flicked to Lily's letter, then back to me. "We'll find it," she vowed. The radio's tune faded, a moment of silence amplifying our pact. Philosophy touched my thoughts. Truth binds stronger than blood. Nathan's betrayal had shattered trust, but Clara and Lily's alliance rebuilt it, a foundation for justice. I glanced at the counter, the pie a symbol of family I'd fight for. Lily shifted, her voice soft. "Grandma, I found something else. Grandpa's letter." My heart skipped. What does it say? The words hung, a promise of answers, as the radio crackled back to life. George's letter trembled in my hands, his words a beacon. Had he known Nathan's heart all along? I sat at my kitchen table in Willow Creek, Ohio, lace curtains catching the evening glow, their delicate patterns dancing on the floor. A town fair flyer, faded and curling, clung to the fridge, its promise of cotton candy and laughter a world away. Jazz floated from the coffee shop next door, a saxophone's wail weaving through the chirp of crickets. The forged trust papers lay beside George's photo, a stark reminder of his protective trust, now defiled by Nathan's greed. My anger burned, fueled by his forged signature and Clara's revelation of his $200,000 debt. But Lily's discovery of George's letter stirred something deeper. a resolve to protect my legacy. Lily stood beside me, her long hair catching the lamplight, her voice soft but steady. "It's Grandpa's," she said, unfolding the letter. "B, you are the trust's heart. Don't let greed win." Her words, in George's careful script, hit like a warm tide. I teared up, my throat tight, memories flooding back. George had missed my 40th birthday, lost in his work, but later that year, he'd held me close, vowing to shield our family. This letter, hidden in Lily's keepsake box, was his vow renewed, a lifeline across the years. I brushed a tear away, my heart swelling with his love, though the sting of Nathan's betrayal lingered. The door swung open and Clara stormed in, her face a thundercloud. "Mom, you won't believe this!" she hissed, slamming her purse on the counter. "Nathan's telling neighbors you're confused, saying you can't handle the trust." Her anger crackled, her eyes blazing. My jaw clenched. Nathan's rumors, a fresh wound undermining my competence. I'd sacrificed my teaching dreams for him, worked endless shifts, and he dared to paint me as feeble? Can a mother's love survive a son's lies? The question roared, my anger peaking, a fire I could barely contain. "Neighbors?" Lily's voice quavered, her hands twisting. She loved my stories about George, his fishing trips, his quiet laugh. But Nathan's lies threatened her trust in me. I reached for her, my resolve hardening, but Clara's words echoed, each one a spark of outrage. The coffee shop's jazz swelled, a mournful note matching my fury. "Let's find proof," I said, standing, my voice low but firm. I crossed to the living room, where old boxes from George's office gathered dust. My hands tore through them, tax forms, receipts, a photo of us smiling, until I found a leather notebook, Nathan's old college diary. My pulse quickened as I flipped it open, landing on a page dated last month. "Need trust money to pay debts," it read, his handwriting jagged, "must transfer by party." My breath caught, the diary revealing his desperation, a plan to seize the trust at Lily's birthday. Clara leaned over my shoulder, reading. "He's been scheming for months," she growled, her reconciliation with me now a fire of loyalty. Lily's eyes widened, her fingers clutching George's letter. "Grandma, he can't do this to you," she whispered, protective, her loyalty a shield I hadn't known I needed. I nodded, my anger solidifying into resolve, the diary a weapon against Nathan's lies. We moved to the couch, quilts soft beneath us, the jazz fading as we planned. "We'll confront him at the party," Clara said, her voice fierce. "Let everyone see who he is." Lily nodded, her fear giving way to determination. I gripped the diary, its leather cool, my resolve ironclad. "He won't erase me," I said, my voice steady. Clara and Lily's nods a silent vow. The potluck flyer on the counter loomed, its date, Thursday, now a deadline for justice. I set the diary beside George's photo, his smile bolstering me. Philosophy settled in my thoughts. Lies may spread, but truth burns brighter. Nathan's rumors weren't just words. They were a campaign to steal my place, my legacy. But George's letter, Clara's anger, and Lily's loyalty proved I wasn't alone. My hurt, raw from his betrayal, fueled a fierce resolve to fight back. The jazz outside softened, a trumpet's cry lingering. Clara's phone buzzed and she stepped to the window, her face paling as she listened. "It's a neighbor," she whispered, covering the receiver. They heard Nathan on the phone saying, "I'll handle Mom before the party." My heart skipped. What's his next move? The question hung, sharp as the diary's truth, pulling us toward the fight ahead. Nathan's shout echoed, "You're a burden, Mom!" as he smashed George's photo. How could my son destroy my past? I stood in Nathan's sterile suburban home in Willow Creek, Ohio, the living room cold despite the summer evening. A potluck flyer for Lily's party was pinned to a sleek fridge, its bright colors clashing with the tension in the air. Outside, a farmer's market truck rumbled past, its horn sharp, cutting through the quiet neighborhood. My hand clutched George's letter in my pocket. Its words, B, you're the trust's heart. A shield against Nathan's cruelty. The anger that had simmered since finding his diary, his forged signature, and his confusion rumors now boiled, ready to spill over. Clara's call had pushed me here, her voice urgent over the phone an hour ago. Mom, confront him now, his lies are spreading. I'd driven over, heart pounding, the $200,000 debt and Nathan's scheme to seize the trust, fueling my courage. Nathan stood by the fireplace, arms crossed, his jaw tight as I stepped inside. You forged my signature, Nathan, I said, voice shaking but firm. You're stealing George's trust. He sneered, his eyes cold. You're stuck in the past, Mom, always dragging us down. His words stung, dismissing the years I'd sacrificed, my teaching career, every dime for his college. I gripped the letter tighter, my anger flaring. But before I could respond, his voice rose, sharp and public, neighbors' silhouettes visible through the open window. You're a burden, he shouted, stepping closer, his face twisted. He snatched George's framed photo, our 30th anniversary, his smile warm beside mine, from the mantel and hurled it to the floor. Glass shattered, scattering like my heart. You've never done anything for us, he roared, shoving me toward the door, his hands rough on my shoulders. I stumbled, pain shooting through my arm, indignation choking me. Dad, stop! Lily's voice cut through, high and desperate. She darted from the hallway, her long hair flying, and wedged herself between us, her eyes wide with shock. Grandma's not a burden, she cried, her loyalty a spark in the chaos. Nathan froze, his breath heavy, but his glare didn't soften. Clara burst through the door, her face a storm. Nathan, how dare you? She hissed, pulling me close, her arms a shield. Vivian followed, her knit cap askew, her wit sharp as a blade. You're the failure, Nathan, she snapped, her voice slicing the air. Not B. Her words, rooted in her nephew's betrayal, bolstered me. Her presence a reminder I wasn't alone. I straightened, my eyes locked on the broken frame, glass glinting under the light. Can a mother's strength outlast a son's shame? The question burned, my anger transforming into steely resolve. Nathan's lies, his rumors, his forgery, they were weapons to erase me. But Lily's defense, Clara's fury, and Vivian's support proved I was still here, still fighting. Nathan, I said, voice low, you'll face the truth at Lily's party. My resolve hardened, unyielding as I stared at the wreckage of George's photo. Nathan's jaw twitched, defensive, his control slipping. He turned away, muttering. But I caught Clara's nod, Lily's fierce gaze, Vivian's knowing smile. We were a united front, bound by truth. I moved to the kitchen, needing space, my hand brushing the potluck flyer. A name caught my eye, J. Carver, listed as a guest. My pulse quickened, remembering the $50,000 bill, Carver's name tied to Nathan's debts. Was this his creditor? My anger flared anew, Nathan's desperation now a web tightening around him. Clara joined me, her hand on my shoulder. We'll expose him, Mom, she whispered, her reconciliation with me a fire of loyalty. Lily hovered nearby, clutching her sweater, her defiance a mirror of my own. Vivian leaned against the counter, her quip soft but pointed. He's digging his own grave, Bee. Her past betrayal fueled her faith in me, solidifying her role. Philosophy settled in my thoughts. Betrayal fractures, but love rebuilds. Nathan's cruelty had broken our family, but Clara's support, Lily's loyalty, and Vivian's encouragement forged a new strength. I glanced at the flyer, its date, Thursday, looming like a battlefield. The truck's horn sounded again, fading into the night. Is Nathan bringing his creditor to the party? The question hung, a spark ready to ignite, as I vowed to face him head on. My hand steadied as I faced Clara, Vivian, and Lily. Could we outsmart Nathan's lies at the party? I stood in Vivian's cozy home, the fireplace crackling, its warmth a contrast to the storm brewing inside me. Mismatched mugs cluttered the counter, steam rising from a fresh pot of coffee, mingling with the faint scent of grilled chicken from lunch. A community center schedule, taped to the fridge, listed Lily's party. Tomorrow's date circled in red. George's letter lay open on the table, its ink bold. "B, you're the trust's heart." The words urged me to protect his trust, a legacy Nathan had defiled with his forgery, rumors, and cruelty. My resolve, forged in the fire of his betrayal, burned bright, ready to lead us into battle. Clara sat across from me, her eyes fierce, her chestnut hair pulled tight. Vivian leaned against the counter, her knit cap tilted, wit sharpening her gaze. Lily perched on the couch, her fingers twisting her sweater, her face a mix of nerves and bravery. Nathan's voice haunted me, a holiday fight 2 years ago echoing, "You're nothing to us." His words, flung in front of Clara and Lily, had cut deep, a wound reopened by his recent burden insult and the smashed photo of George. The pain pushed me to act, my anger now a focused purpose. I took a breath, my voice steady. "Nathan thinks I'm weak. We'll prove him wrong at the party." The words landed like a vow, binding us. Vivian's mouth quirked, her eyes sharp. "Expose the forgery publicly, B. Let Willow Creek see his lies." Her suggestion, born from her nephew's betrayal, stealing her savings and calling her senile, carried the weight of experience. I nodded, my heart racing. The community center's potluck tables already vivid in my mind, laden with pies and casseroles. Clara leaned forward, pulling her phone from her purse. "I emailed the trust's attorney yesterday," she said, her voice firm. "Got a reply this morning. Nathan's disqualified for manipulation. George's clause kicks him out if he tries to deceive you." Her words, proof of our renewed bond, healed the ache of her graduation I'd missed for George's surgery. She was my ally now, her remorse channeled into action. I smiled, pride swelling, but Nathan's echoed abuse. "You're nothing," stung, spurring me on. Lily raised her hand, voice soft but clear. "Grandma, I'll read Grandpa's letter to the guests." Her offer, brave despite her nerves, deepened her loyalty, her love for my George stories, his fishing trips, his quiet laugh, shining through. "It'll show Dad's wrong," she added, her eyes meeting mine. I reached for her hand, squeezing it, her courage a spark that lit my own. The fireplace popped, wood smoke curling upward. I paced, my fingers brushing George's locket in my pocket, its cool metal a symbol of my strength. "We'll do more," I said, my voice firm. "I'll freeze the trust, cut Nathan off completely, and I'll donate part of it to the Literacy Center in George's name." The plan locked in, a defiance of Nathan's greed. Vivian grinned, quipping, "Hit his pride, B. Nothing hurts more." Her words, laced with her past triumph over her nephew, fueled our strategy. Clara gripped my hand, her strength anchoring me. "Let's rehearse," she said, pulling out the forged document. We practiced. Lily reading George's letter, her voice steadying, Clara detailing Nathan's debts, me announcing the trust freeze, my words clear. The locket's weight grounded me, a promise I'd reclaim my worth. Will my silence be my power? The question lingered, my resolve unshakable, silence now my weapon until the party. I crossed to the counter, pouring coffee, the mugs clinking. My laptop chimed, an email flashing. I opened it, heart skipping. The attorney confirming Nathan's disqualification, but noting his recent inquiry about the trust, dated yesterday. My pulse quickened, his urgency a warning. "He's pushing hard," I said, showing Clara the screen. Her jaw tightened, her loyalty fierce. "He's desperate, Mom." Lily shifted, her sweater rustling. "He's been on the phone a lot," she said, voice small, "talking about money." Her words, a glimpse into Nathan's world, deepened her subplot, her torn loyalty shifting toward me. Vivian's eyes narrowed. "He's running out of time," she said, her strategic mind clicking. That's our edge. We sat, coffee cooling, the community center schedule a silent deadline. I outlined the plan again. Forgery reveal, letter reading, trust freeze, donation. Clara's hand stayed in mine, her graduation rift forgotten, our bond a fortress. Lily's bravery grew, her letter-reading practice a vow to defend me. Vivian's wit sharpened our edges, her past betrayal a guide to victory. Nathan's desperation, hinted by the email, loomed, his nothing to us echoing but losing power. Philosophy settled in my thoughts. Strength grows in the shadows, blooming in the light. Nathan's lies had cast me into darkness, but Clara's support, Lily's courage, and Vivian's strategy lit my path. The fireplace glowed, wood smoke wrapping us, the grilled chicken scent a reminder of shared meals, shared fights. Lily stood, her face pale, returning from a quick errand to the community center. "Grandma, I heard Dad," she whispered. "He said, Mom's out of it. I'm taking the trust." Her words chilled me. Nathan's voice a ghost. Who was he telling? The question hung, a spark ready to ignite tomorrow's battle. The community center buzzed with potluck chatter, but Nathan's whispers froze my heart. How many lies had he spread? I slipped through the doors of Willow Creek's community center, my pulse racing. George's letter folded tight in my hand, its words, "B, you're the trust's heart," my armor against Nathan's deceit. Balloons bobbed above tables laden with casseroles, pecan pies, and pitchers of sweet tea, their scents mingling with the soft jazz from a local band strumming in the corner. A happy 16th Lily. Banner glowed under string lights, its cheerful cursive a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside me. I adjusted my navy dress, the locket in my pocket heavy with purpose, my resolve steeled to reclaim my place. Vivian stood beside me, her gray hair tucked under a knit cap, her eyes sharp as she scanned the room. "Wait for the right moment, Bee," she whispered, her voice low, honed by her nephew's betrayal years ago. I nodded, my gaze landing on Nathan, schmoozing a cluster of neighbors near the dessert table. His laugh rang out, too loud, his suit crisp but his posture tense, driven by the $200,000 debt Clara had uncovered. I edged closer, unnoticed, catching his words. "Mom's confused, bless her heart. Can't keep things straight anymore." My blood boiled, his rumors a knife twisting in my worth, dismissing the sacrifices, my teaching dreams, his college, that I'd poured into him. Clara moved through the crowd, her chestnut hair catching the light, her face set with anger. She'd vowed loyalty after our reconciliation, the sting of my missed graduation fading in her fight for me. She cornered a man by the punch bowl, Jay Carver, his name familiar from the $50,000 bill I'd found. "Mr. Carver," Clara said, voice clear, "did you know Nathan owes $200,000 on his dealership? He's been dodging you." Carver's eyes widened, his glass pausing mid-sip. Whispers rippled, heads turning. Clara's words tying to that bill exposed Nathan's desperation, her courage a beacon for our plan. Lily hovered near the band, her long hair tied back, her hands steady as she clutched George's letter. She caught my eye, her bravery shining despite the weight of Nathan's lies. She loved my stories about George, his fishing trips, his quiet laugh, and now her role in reading his letter would defend me. She stepped to Clara, passing the letter, her fingers brushing Clara's in a silent pact. My heart swelled, their bond with me, a shield against Nathan's greed, but his rumors, Mom's confused, stung, evoking outrage at his attempt to erase my competence. I moved to a table, my fingers brushing a business card left among the plates. Jay Carver, creditor, it read, confirming Clara's revelation, a spark of proof that Nathan's debts drove his forgery. I pocketed it, my resolve peaking, the locket's weight grounding me. How many lies can a family hold? The question pulsed, my determination fierce, ready to unravel Nathan's deceit. I edged toward the stage, the jazz softening, the band pausing for speeches. Nathan stood with Carver now, his voice low but carrying. "Mom's slipping. I had to act," he said, justifying his forgery, his hand gesturing as if I were a fading shadow. "The trust's mine to manage now." Carver nodded, uncertain, but Nathan's lie, calling me slipping, lit a fire in my chest. My fingers gripped the forged document in my bag, its ink a crime I'd expose. Vivian appeared at my side, her nod firm. "Now, B," she said, her guidance, born of her own triumph over betrayal, ensuring my timing. I took a breath, my eyes scanning the room. Clara's fierce gaze, Lily's steady hands, Vivian's sharp smile. Nathan's lies had spread like wildfire, but our truth would burn brighter. The community center's warmth, its pies and chatter, felt like a stage for justice, a place where Willow Creek would see me, not Nathan's version of a confused old woman. My anger at his burden insult, his smashed photo, his nothing to us, echoed, but my resolve drowned them out. Clara's voice rose, drawing eyes. "Nathan's lied to us all," she said, holding up the letter. "Mom's not confused. She's the trust's heart." Guests murmured, their forks pausing. Lily stepped forward, her voice trembling but clear, ready to read George's words. Nathan's face tightened, his charm faltering, nerves creeping in as his lies unraveled. I clutched the forged document, my moment approaching, the locket, a symbol of the family I'd fight for. Philosophy settled in my thoughts. Lies crumble under truth's weight. Nathan's rumors, his forgery, his debts. They were a house of cards, and we'd topple it. Clara's loyalty, Lily's courage, and Vivian's guidance were my foundation, their subplots weaving a tapestry of maternal love against Nathan's greed. The jazz band struck a low note, pausing, the room quieting. Nathan's eyes locked on mine, nervous, a flicker of doubt crossing his face. Does he suspect my plan? The question hung, a spark ready to ignite as I stepped toward the stage, ready to end his lies. I stepped to the microphone, my voice clear as a bell. Nathan's lies would end tonight, and I'd take back my place. The Willow Creek Community Center fell hushed, balloons bobbing above tables piled with casseroles and pecan pies, their buttery scent thick in the air. A happy 16th Lily. Banner glowed under string lights, its cheer a backdrop to the storm I'd unleash. The local jazz band's notes faded into silence, all eyes turning to me. My navy dress brushed my knees, George's locket warm in my pocket, its clasp a symbol of the family I'd fight for. My resolve, honed by Nathan's forgery, rumors, and cruelty, stood firm, ready to affirm my worth. I gripped the forged trust document, its ink a testament to Nathan's greed. "Nathan lied to you all," I said, my voice steady, cutting through the quiet. "He forged my signature to steal George's trust, spread rumors I'm confused, called me a burden." I held up the paper, detailing his $200,000 debt, his you're-nothing insults, his smashed photo of George. Guests gasped, forks clattering, their faces shifting from shock to anger. Nathan stood by the dessert table, his suit rumpled, his manipulative charm faltering as eyes bored into him. Lily stepped forward, her long hair catching the light, George's letter trembling in her hands. "This is from Grandpa," she said, voice clear despite her nerves. "B's the trust's heart. Greed can't win." Her words, read with courage, echoed George's love, her loyalty to my stories, his fishing trips, his quiet laugh, binding us. Nathan stammered, "She's confused," his voice cracking, desperation clawing through. Clara beside me snapped, "You're the liar, Nathan, with your $200,000 debts." Her loyalty, born from our healed bond over her missed graduation, rang out proud and fierce, drawing murmurs from the crowd. Vivian hovered near the stage, her knit cap tilted, her sharp smile cheering me on. Her own triumph over her nephew's theft fueled her support. her victory mirroring mine. A guest near me whispered, "Nathan tried borrowing from me, too." Her words a quiet shock, revealing his wider desperation. My pulse quickened, this twist cementing his downfall, my indignation at his lies. "You're a burden. Nothing to us." Fueling my stand. I took a breath, the locket's weight steadying me. "I'm freezing the trust," I announced, my voice unwavering. "Nathan gets nothing, and I'm donating half to the Willow Creek Literacy Center in George's name." The crowd erupted in applause, their claps a rhythm of justice. I turned to Lily, pulling the locket from my pocket, its gold glinting. "This is our family's strength," I said, fastening it around her neck, her eyes shining. The symbolic act, a passing of George's love, sealed our bond, a defiance of Nathan's greed. Nathan slunk back, his shoulders sagging, defeated, his manipulative facade shattered. My heart soared, resolve blooming into liberation. Was I ever enough for them, or did I find enough in me? The question settled, my answer clear. I was enough for myself, for Clara, for Lily. The center's warmth wrapped around me, pies and casseroles a testament to community, to roots I'd reclaimed. Clara's arm looped through mine, her pride celebratory, our reconciliation complete. Lily's locket gleamed, her courage empowering her role in our fight a mark of growth. Vivian's nod was victorious, her support a shared triumph. The band struck a soft chord, signaling a return to the party. But the air had changed, charged with truth. Nathan's lies, his rumors, his forgery had crumbled under our weight. Clara's loyalty, Lily's bravery, and Vivian's guidance had built a new family, one where I stood tall, not invisible. Nathan's greed, exposed by the guest's whisper, lay in ruins, his $200,000 debt a chain he'd forged alone. I stepped off the stage, Clara's hand in mine, Lily's smile bright. Philosophy touched my thoughts. Truth reshapes what lies break. Nathan had tried to break me, but I'd reshaped our story, my worth shining brighter than his shame. The banner's glow softened, the potluck tables humming with renewed chatter, Willow Creek seeing me anew. Nathan pushed through the crowd, his face red, muttering, "This isn't over." He stormed out, the door slamming, his words a hollow threat. Could he still fight back? The promise hung, sharp as the jazz band's final note, as I turned back to my family, ready for what came next. My new bank card gleamed in my hand, crisp and mine alone. Freedom felt like morning light. I stood in my kitchen in Willow Creek, Ohio, sunlight streaming through lace curtains, casting delicate patterns on the floor. An apple pie cooled on the counter, its sweet aroma filling the air, a quiet celebration of last night's triumph at Lily's party. From next door, the coffee shop's hum blended with birdsong, a gentle rhythm of normalcy. Lily's locket, now around her neck, sparkled in my memory, a bond Nathan couldn't touch, echoing George's trust that I'd defended. At 62, I felt liberated, at peace, my heart light with the family I'd redefined. I slipped the bank card into my purse, its plastic cool against my fingers. This morning, I'd visited the Willow Creek Bank, opening an account beyond Nathan's reach. The teller, a young woman with a warm smile, had said, "You're in control, Miss Sullivan." Her words echoed as I drove home, the pie's scent lingering in my car, a reminder of the life I'd reclaimed. Nathan's absence after his insults, "You're a burden, nothing to us," and his lies was a victory, the pain of his forgery and smashed photo fading under my newfound strength. The doorbell chimed and Clara stepped inside, her chestnut hair loose, her smile bright. Lily followed, her locket glinting, her sneakers squeaking on the hardwood. Vivian trailed them, her knit cap askew, her eyes twinkling with pride. "Weekly dinners, Mom," Clara said, hugging me, "starting today." Her joy, born from our healed bond, she'd forgiven my absence at her graduation, warmed me, her commitment sealing our reconciliation. Lily flung her arms around me, her voice soft. "Grandma, you're my hero." The locket brushed my cheek, her loyalty a gift I cherished, her love for my George stories now a bridge to her future. Vivian raised a mug of coffee, grinning. "To be, who took it all back," she toasted, her triumph over her nephew's betrayal mirroring my own, her warmth a steady ally. We laughed, the kitchen alive with their voices, the pie's scent wrapping us like a family quilt. I moved to the table, pulling out my checkbook, the trust funds secure after last night's freeze. "Lily," I said, writing a check, "this is for your art classes." Her eyes widened, her fingers clutching the locket, hope blooming. "Really, Grandma?" she asked, her dreams of painting, swirling blues like her watercolors, now within reach. I nodded, my heart full, Clara's proud smile echoing mine. Can love rebuild what was broken? The question settled, answered by their presence, my liberation blossoming. Sitting, I sipped coffee, the mug warm in my hands. Nathan's absence loomed, a quiet victory. His confusion rumors, his forgery, his $200,000 debt. They'd collapsed under our truth at the party. I didn't need his approval anymore, I murmured to myself, peace washing over me. The bank statement tucked in my purse showed his failed attempt to access the trust last week, blocked by my freeze, a final twist confirming my control. I smiled, the coffee shop's hum a soothing backdrop, birdsong weaving through. Clara reached for my hand, her fingers steady. "We're here, Mom," she said, her graduation rift forgotten, her joy a testament to our bond. Vivian leaned back, her quip soft. "Nathan's out of moves, B." Her pride, tied to her own victory, warmed our circle, her role as ally complete. Lily's locket caught the light, her hope a spark for tomorrow, her loyalty deepening through her art. I stood, slicing the apple pie, its crust flaking under the knife. We ate, forks clinking, laughter rising, the coffee shop's hum fading as our voices filled the space. Philosophy touched my thoughts. Love rebuilds on courage's foundation. Nathan's lies had tried to break me, but Clara's reconciliation, Lily's loyalty, and Vivian's support had built a new family, one where I stood whole, liberated from his shadow. As I sat with Clara and Lily, George's letter still warm in my hands, I felt a flicker of hope amidst Nathan's betrayal, a promise that love could outshine lies. My journey through silence, abandonment, and Nathan's cruel rumors taught me that family isn't just blood, it's the hearts that stand by you, like Clara's remorseful embrace and Lily's loyal defense. In life, when we hold space for forgiveness, we rebuild what hurt tries to break, much like sharing a pecan pie at a potluck mends old wounds. The pain of being undervalued stings, but love's quiet strength, rooted in trust and truth, always finds a way back. Can a mother's love survive a son's lies? I believe it can, and I'm learning to see myself through Clara and Lily's eyes, not Nathan's. If this story touched your heart, please share your own family moments in the comments. I'd love to hear how love has shaped your life.